I think the worst part was at the time, due to all this exploring, my mind wandering elsewhere, and in being lost in general, I wasn't making money. I was dragging people down, and eventually it came to a point where I had to admit that whatever I was doing was not sustainable. Honestly, this setup is a bit more complicated than I expected, with lights here, lights at the background, there's a hair light behind me above. But, it's my first attempt at building a YouTube lighting setup for a talking head shot. But that being said, it's not my first time putting myself in front of a camera. It's been several times actually, and in the past, it always fizzled out because it was something that I didn't resonate with, or it was just multiple attempts at trying to do this. And I guess that's kind of the point. You keep trying until you find something that works for you. This will probably be another attempt that will fizzle out, or who knows, I might be able to keep this going. We'll see. Right? Because these days, when I'm trying to build a brand, the person behind the brand essentially has to be in front of the camera speaking to it anyway. So like it or not, this is something I will have to do. For those who don't know me, I graduated as a software engineer. So when I graduated, I worked at a software company for about 4 months before I decided to quit. In that 4 months, I was commuting 2 hours to work and then 2 hours back. That's 4 hours of my life on the road or on the train or, walking, whatever it is, every single day. And in those times, I always ask myself, why am I doing all this? Because I was doing work that I really didn't resonate with. I was not enjoying the process. I was not proud of the results. And of course, financially, I am not in a place where I can justify, going through all of it. If I was earning a lot of money, then maybe the suffering was worth it, but definitely not in my particular circumstance. The decision to quit aligned with a point in time which, looking back, I think I was very lucky. Because I knew someone who was in the creative industry and they gave me the opportunity to enter it. And that paved the path for my career as a photographer and videographer. And it's been almost 15 years since then. Now, it's not been a smooth sailing journey because, like many of you know, COVID happened. And it was a point in my life where I thought stability mattered more than passion. So when, COVID happened and like a lot of people, I felt lost. I wasn't really sure what direction my career at that point should be taking. I ended up exploring way too many opportunities outside of the creative industry, and none of them gained any traction. I think the worst part was at the time, due to all this exploring, my mind wandering elsewhere, and in being lost in general, I wasn't making money. I was dragging people down, and eventually it came to a point where I had to admit that whatever I was doing was not sustainable. After that chapter, the opportunity came for me to join a company again, but this time in a position where I had the authority to make changes, to influence the outcome of projects and of course the direction of the company when it comes to minor details. Within reason, of course, and within budget. So I decided to give it another shot. Instead of 4 months, this lasted about 3 years. And while I learned a lot during that time, and I'm still thankful for the people who gave me the opportunity to join them, be a part of that company, I think everything that happened along the way ultimately confirmed something that I myself knew all along, which was the life of a corporate person is really not for me. So about 8 months ago, I decided to leave and make the jump back into the creative industry. And safe to say, it's been quite the journey. It definitely wasn't a one-shot success story. I spent weeks messaging dozens of people, asking them, what can I do for you? You know, is there any ideas that you want to explore? Do you need a pair of helping hands? That kind of thing. I'm still doing it today, by the way. All right, I'm still reaching out to people, asking them, you know, if there's something that I can do for you. I'm not trying to earn money off of you. I'm just trying to explore opportunities in a way that both of us can benefit. Right, but that was how I started transitioning from corporate back into the creative industry. My search was very broad. I wasn't just messaging people in the creative industry, I was messaging everybody. And basically at one point I found myself even exploring if I could enter the battery energy storage industry. You know, we're talking about batteries that power homes, factories, even the grid. So yeah, that looking back, that's really something that was completely out of my depth. I needed expertise and knowledge that was far beyond what I had. But eventually, things started coming together because I was fortunate enough to meet people who gave me enough opportunities that put money in my pocket, that allowed me to financially transition back into the world of being a creative. Because as those of you who watch this video, if you are creative yourself, you know that it's not an easy journey. The money is not constant. There's a lot at times. There's very little at times. And when the world demands stability from you regardless, it can be very hard to keep up. But thanks to these people, they've given me a chance to build a life where, you know, I have more control over my time. I can spend my energy creating things that I actually care about. And of course, produce work that I hope to be proud of one day. Now, I don't want to drag this video for too long, but putting myself in front of the camera again is really just another way of challenging myself. I want to become better at communicating, better at expressing my thoughts, and better at planning stories and presenting ideas the way content creators do. So yes, you might have noticed that I'm reading off of a script, but please excuse that for now because I really can't ad-lib my way through about 5 to 10 minutes of video, and I see that it's about almost 9 minutes at this point. As for what this channel is going to be about, after spending so many years in the industry, I've accumulated what I think is a really unhealthy amount of gear at this point. There's a lot. All right, I have light stands, I have microphones, I have cameras, lenses, all more accessories that I could count. So I figured reviewing the equipment that I own is probably a good way to start, since there is enough there that I can make a lot of content out of it. So if you somehow made it all the way to this point, thank you. It's not easy to sit through a almost 10-minute video where I am basically monologuing. But of course, I hope to make the next video a bit more engaging, visually dynamic, and hopefully a bit more entertaining for you. All right. So till the next one, take care.